Hey there everybody, it's time for the presentation of the rosters for our YouTube Community History Maker Baseball project or challenge, however you want to call it. And today is this March 16th, tomorrow is Selection Sunday in the NCAA tournament. So we get to find out who's going to make it, who's on the bubble, and who's on the outside looking in. Well, as of today, March 16th, I have taken down the other video that talked about asking for players because the rosters are now full and they're set. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and present the rosters and the two teams. And if anybody is missing from this, please let me know. I will add you in. If you had already previously requested to be in the game and I just somehow overlooked you, let me know that. Can't take any more new ones though because we're full. We got to stop at some point. So, we'll go and get going with that. And if you're, I'm going to show every card. So if you're unhappy with how I rated you, you can let me know and we'll see about maybe making an adjustment, because what I'm going to present are just the prototype cards. These are not the official cards on the good card stock that we're going to use for the game. This is just a prototype while I'm brainstorming and putting things together just to show you who's on what team and what qualities each of you have. Some of the players I had to change positions because we got so many requests to be a catcher, but we ended up with 6 catchers and we really only need 4. So a couple of you I had to rearrange to be outfielders or some other position. And we're also using the DH in this little challenge. So if you're one of the multiples at third base or first base or wherever it might happen to be, you can always be put in as a DH. The plan was to do a 2 out of 3, best 2 out of 3, for the challenge here. But if people like it, if the community likes it, and you're into it and you want to see more, then we'll go ahead and increase it to a best of 7. But right now I'm playing on a best of 3. So I have 2 starting pitchers. A third guy is like a swing guy between relieving and starting, and the rest are bullpen. So we got plenty of pitchers. Each team has 10 pitchers on their roster. And I believe each of the other, the position players are about 11 to 12. So we've got enough for the full 9, including the DH plus a couple of backups. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get started. And like I said, I tried to remember as best I could who desired to be on which team for the ones that let me know that. And the other ones, I just kind of put you where the teams were needed and put you in positions where the teams were needed. So if I had to change you or you didn't tell me what you wanted to be, I went ahead and simply put you in as a pitcher or as an outfielder or as a first baseman or wherever we needed the particular spots to help out the roster. Now some of these, most of these are player cards that I printed out from work yesterday, but we've had some additions since then. Some late people have gotten in, so I had to handwrite these on pieces of paper. But like I said, I'm going to transfer all this onto the computer and print out on the good card stock once we're all done. But I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to review this before I do that, because once I print out that one time, I'm not reprinting them. I'm not going to use up my card stock again. I want to use it. I don't mind using it, but I want to use it efficiently and get it right the first time. So I won't print those out until I'm confident that everything is the way it should be. All right, so without further ado, let's meet the two teams and who's going to be on each team. And what I thought I would try to do was just present each player and look at each of the player cards, and we'll do alternating draft picks, if you want to call it that. First pick will go to ID Jester, and the second pick will go to Beatles, and we'll just go back and forth until all the players are revealed. So we'll move ID Jester up here, Beatles over here. So I'll put Beatles over a little further. All right, so everything on this side is going to be the team ID, and everything on this side is going to be team Beatles. All right, let's bring this up just a hair. There we go. All right, so got to have pitching. Can't play a game without pitching. So the very first entry or very first participant to be shown is going to be on team ID Jester. He's going to start game 1. And this gentleman asked me to make him a carbon copy of Pedro Martinez from 2002, which I did. And you know him as Retro Sports Network or Ron Juckett. So Ron Juckett ace, star, double flash, double control, golden icon. Can't get much better than that. And like I said, this is I took the stats from Pedro Martinez 2002 and made Ron Juckett per his request. So there we go. He will be starting game 1. Opposing him in game 1 will be the left-hander from a little north of where I'm located. You know him as working in an auto parts sales section. He is none other than Chris from Stratomag, Delaware. He is starting pitcher, a left-hander. He's a semi-workman flash with double control, but he does have a wicked knuckleball he's been working on, so Team ID has to look out for that. So the game 1 starters will be Ron Juckett against Strat, Delaware. Starters in game 2 for Team ID. It'll be the man known as Mr. Shenanigans himself, the Rear Admiral Clinton Parks. And he's going to be semi-star, semi-flash, and semi-wild. I made him a lefty. I don't know if he's righty or lefty, but hey, in this thing you can be anything you want. So there's the Rear Admiral. He will start in game 2, and he'll be opposing Danny Rogers of Team Beats. Danny Rogers is going to be a star, double flash, iron, and an icon. And Danny wanted his card to mimic the 1989 Nolan Ryan, so that's what I carded him as, star with double flash. So he will be the starting pitcher in game 2. All right, now if we go to a 7-game series and we need a third starter, then this gentleman will be the third starter. Otherwise, he'll be a long relief man. And that's going to be somebody that everybody knows from the community, or most everybody should know from the community, because he put so many people together and introduced so many people together to each other. And that is Al, Red Sox fan. So Al, Red Sox fan, will be on Team ID Jester. He's a star, double flash, and semi-wild. All right. Relief pitcher slash starter for Team Beats. If we go to a 7 games, he'll be a starter. If not, we'll be a reliever. And that's going to be, he's got his own YouTube channel now recently, or upgraded to a different name. But I've always known him as Utah Mike. So Utah Mike will be the third starter for Team Beats if it gets to that, or he'll be in long relief. He's a semi-ace, flash, and semi-wild. All right, now we go to straight regular bullpen people. And the regular bullpen people, we're going to start out with the one and only female to be on either roster, and that's on Team ID Jester. It is going to be Bobby Catalano. She is star, flash, and semi-wild, so she's a relief pitcher for Team ID Jester. And for Team Beats, we're going to have RNGIDP. He asked to be a catcher, but we had so many catchers and we needed pitching, so I hope you don't mind, RNGIDP. I have changed you to a relief pitcher, gave you semi-star, control, and flash qualities. All right, now we go on to Team ID. And the next relief pitcher is going to be Moni G. I don't know if he's related to Kenny G, but Moni G is the relief pitcher for ID Jester, semi-workman flash with semi-control. And the next relief pitcher for Team Beats is going to be Tribe Fan. And he is a star, semi-flash with semi-control. All right, back as we tick-tock back and forth. The next relief pitcher for Team ID is going to be Mr. Moley. And Mr. Moley is a semi-workman with control. And the next relief pitcher for Team Beats is going to be Steve Royas. And he's a semi-struggler, flash with semi-control. All right, we go on to Team ID for another relief pitcher, and it's going to be Manuel Rivera. He's a lefty, he's a workman, semi-flash with control. And for Team Beats, it's going to be Mr. what I would call the godfather of, along with Al Wilson, he's the godfather of History Maker Baseball in my opinion, and that is, after further reviews, Steve Tower. I know he's a righty, but I made him a lefty because I was trying to pattern his card after a player on his own New England Minutemen by the name of Mr. No, Mr. Derek No. I call him Dr. No. He's a tough relief pitcher, a lefty, so kind of try to give him the good qualities there. So Steve, I hope you don't mind that. All right, moving on to some players I had to add on at the end so they don't have a History Maker looking card, but they came in late wanting to be on in the league, so I added them on, just wrote them down by paper. And that's for ID Jester. His name is Hammer Time. So Hammer Time is a relief pitcher, Star Flash, Wild, and an Icon. So that's hammer time. And we did the same thing for Team Beats. And it's another very late entry. And his name is Chris, I'm assuming it's pronounced Kayson, or it could be Kayson. Maybe it's Kayson. Chris Kayson, so the Kayson's marching in is Chris Kayson. Semi-workman with control and semi-iron. All right, now the next to last relief pitcher for Team ID Jester is going to be the very well-known Tenacious Earl from the two Earls from Tabletop Baseball Plus. Tenacious Earl, semi-workman, flash, and semi-control. And we can't have Tenacious Earl in there without Tabletop Earl. So on Team Beats, we have Tabletop Earl. And he will be on a star, semi-flash with semi-control. And now we have to have closers for each of the teams. So the closer for Team ID Jester will be myself. So I patterned myself after the 1983 Dan Quisenberry card, and that's the qualities I came up with, ace and double control. So I'll be the closer for Team Beats. Hopefully we'll get some chances to close out games. And the closer for the closer for ID. The closer for Team Beats will be Dave Little. And he's going to be a semi-ace, double flash, and semi-wild. So could be some fun things there. There's your pitching staff for both teams. All right, now we're going to the position players. And let me get these in position order. That's probably the best thing to do. Instead of, so we don't get confused here. All right, let me check these other manual ones I just made and see what positions they're going to be. Okay, he's an outfielder, and he's okay. I think we're straight now on Team ID's part. Let's make sure Team Beats is good to go. Yep, he's a utility, and we'll see what he's going to do here. Okay, all right. So starting out, we need some catchers, and we had plenty of people request to be catchers. Believe me, I mean, I had to change some positions because we had so many people requesting to be a catcher. So we will start out with the catchers on both teams, the ones that made the cut. And basically these are the ones, the earliest people that request to be catchers got their catcher status. The people who requested later had to be moved to other positions. All right, so for Team ID Jester, starting catcher or catcher one, I guess it's not really a starter and a reliever and a bench guy. It's really the first guy who chimed in. And that's going to be D. Scott Howard. So D. Scott Howard is the catcher for ID Jester. Semi-champion, scrapper, semi-patient, and a semi-whiffer, semi-gold. So there you have the catcher there. Catcher for Team Beats is going to be Al Britboy Shaw, and he's a semi-home run king, semi-patient, semi-whiffer, and semi-gold. Catcher number 2 for Team ID Jester is from north of the border, Dave S. Dave S will be a hero, semi-slugger, and patient. So there are the two catchers for Team ID. The second catcher for Team Beats will be Combat Painter, and he's a semi-hero, slugger, eager, and a semi-whiffer. All right, now we move on to the first base position. And the first base position, I only have one first baseman for each team. That's really all that's needed. I've got some utility guys in case an injury comes up to cover that. So Mark Russell will be the first baseman for Team ID. Semi-champion, slugger, patient, semi-whiffer. So Mark Russell. And the starter first baseman for Team Beats is Mark Forsberg. Mark Forsberg. And I believe he was the person that told me or asked me to pattern him. Actually, I believe it was Mark Russell that asked me to pattern him after the 87 Dwight Evans card. So that's what I did. I think Mark just may have told me to do what I wanted to do, or he gave me these qualities. I don't remember. Semi-hero, patient, and a semi-whiffer. All right, now we go to second baseman. And second baseman, a well-known person in the community. It's been around for a while in the YouTube community. Ken Castro, and he's calling himself Ken the Jet Castro, as he is double active. You can see that right there, double active. Not a very good hitter, but he's double active. He can run like the wind. So Ken Castro, Ken the Jet Castro. And the second baseman for Team Beats is going to be Keith Higdon. He is semi-gold. He's utility, semi-slugger, semi-eager, and semi-whiffer. All right, now we move on to the third baseman. And this person asked me to make him a carbon copy of the 1980 George Brett card. So I did, and his card is loaded, as you might expect. And that is Derek, Dodgers Royals fan. Now, I couldn't fit the word fan on here. I had limited characters. So there you go. Semi-hero, champion, slugger, semi-patient, a good eye. So good qualities there. A 1980 George Brett clone. And now we go to the third baseman on Team Beats. Beats is going to be Clark-Rotz, I guess is Clark-Rotz. I guess I'm not sure how it's pronounced. That's just what his screen name was when he requested this, so I don't know his real name. Semi-hero, semi-home run king, semi-patient, and a semi-whiffer. All right, we go on to the shortstop position. And the shortstop for Team ID is going to be T-Dub TV. So T-Dub TV can run a little bit, trouble in the field, and not a very good hitter, but he's in there. T-Dub TV. All right, shortstop for Team Beats is going to be Don Heston. Again, light hitting, decent fielder, normal, semi-active, but you can see there the qualities where he may run into some issues with the batting. All right, now we move on to the outfielders. And the outfielders, first of all, for Team ID Jester, it's going to be Larry Harris. So Larry Harris is one of the outfielders, semi-satsack, semi-patient, and a semi-whiffer. And the first outfielder listed for Team Beats is going to be Mike McClelland. Mike McClelland is a semi-hero, a scrapper, but he is double active, so he certainly can run. Next outfielder is going to be for Team ID Jester, and it is going to be the original Grognard. The original Grognard is going to be a semi-scrapper, patient with a good eye, and he's semi-gold. And the outfielder for Team Beats is actually going to play center field, and it's going to be Dan Rags Rudolph. He's a semi-gold and active, semi-utility, semi-scrapper, patient, and a semi-good eye. Third outfielder for Team ID will be Rob! He originally wanted to be a second baseman, but I was running short on outfielders, so Rob, I hope you don't move. Hope you don't mind that I moved you to the outfield. Semi-hero, semi-slugger, semi-patient, a good eye, and you're semi-gold and semi-active. So I think those are pretty good qualities. Just going to be from the outfield versus second base. And the third outfielder for Team Beats Eternally is another stalwart in the community, Jerry Ball. First, I was going to make him a shortstop, but then we needed outfielders, so Jerry, I moved you to the outfield. Semi-utility, semi-scrapper, patient, a good eye, but he is semi-gold and semi-active. All right, now we're looking at potentially utility / DH type players for each of the teams. And this guy I've got strictly as a DH. He's going to be kind of modeled sort of after the Steve Balboni type, and that is Bubba Husky. He is going to be a semi-home run king, whiffer, and eager. So Bubba Husky will be the DH. And the DH for Team Beats, and he could also slide into third base if necessary, and that is Anthony from Bleacher Bums Gaming. And he will be a slugger, semi-whiffer, and semi-patient. So Anthony got in real late, so I didn't get a chance to make an official history maker card for him, but I will certainly do that once I'd finalized the rosters. But I did want to make sure he got in. So Anthony, you are in. All right, now another person to put in, and this is another can play in the outfield or DH, and that is J.B. Gorman, and he will be on Team ID. And he is semi-utility, semi-slugger, eager, semi-whiffer, and semi-gold, and a semi-prospect. And then the last entry, let's put him here. You can still see him on the, well, maybe you can still see some of these, all these guys. I'm running a room here. All right, so the last player on Team Beatles Eternally, and this person is associated with Combat Painter, and it is Benny P. Benny P, I've listed him as utility. I think he was meant to be a catcher, but again, we had so many catchers. But he can be an emergency catcher if the need arises. He's got him as hero, scrapper, semi-patient, good eye, and semi-gold. So that's Benny P. And like I said, he is on the team with Beatles Eternally along with Combat Painter. Last player is a free agent, and I need to get one more. I think I'll just add somebody else to the team to even up the teams. And that's going to be Craig Artle. And I'm going to put him on Team Beats, and I'll come up with a new player for Team ID. So Craig is going to be a third baseman, or he could, like I said, maybe for defensive purposes. Not a very good hitter, so it wouldn't make sense to DH him, but maybe come in for defense toward the end because he is semi-gold. So Craig Artle will be there. And then I may have to just create a player to even out the rosters on IDs, because we got one more player than we have on Team ID because we had obviously odd number of players. Now, I didn't make a player card for for Beatles or ID because they are like the general managers of the team, so I thought it might be a conflict of interest to actually have them have a player card, so I did not use them in the equation. What I will do probably for Team ID is just take somebody off of the fictional set in 2019 in Baseball America, free agents, one of those, and add them in to the probably to the outfield to give an extra little bit of outfield help there. All right, so there you see all the players. If I missed anybody who had previously before today asked to be on the league roster, please let me know. So before I add one of the free agents from the Baseball America set, if I did skip anybody, I will add them into Team ID to even up the score on the roster size. And if I did that, I certainly apologize for doing it, and I want to make sure that you get to be in as you requested. Short of that, let the smack talk begin. Let the gauntlet be put down, and for friendly competition, let's get this league going. What I'm hoping to do is print all these out maybe later in the week, and hopefully next weekend is my hope, in quotes. Next weekend, my hope is to get the first game in, but we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I want to make sure I get all the qualities finalized and get all the cards made and get them printed on the nice card stock so they are ready for action in History Maker Baseball, the YouTube Community League. So I hope everybody is at least semi-happy with how I rated you. If not, I'll pull out the Decide or Die and see if you're happy or not. But this is pretty much it. I mean, if you really want to have a different quality than what I gave you, please be fairly prompt in sending me a message so I can go in and edit that before I make the finalized copies. Because once I print the finalized copies, that's it. We're going to have to live with what we have. So that's going to do it from here. Hope everybody is having a wonderful St. Patrick's Day weekend. And be safe out there. And for everybody, if you see some names on here you don't recognize, and you see them in the chats, reach out to them, say hello. If you see folks in here that have a channel that are a YouTube producer, be sure to check their channels out and give them some support, give them some views, and encourage them further so they can keep going. And that's about it. I don't want to ramble too long. I just wanted to put this out there. And somebody had asked also about the explanation of the qualities in the game. So what I'm going to do is once I print out the official rosters and before we start actually playing the game, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick demo video on just the qualities. I'm not going to give away any proprietary information of how Keith rates these players, but I'll kind of explain what exactly a scrapper is, what exactly a pitcher with flash, what that means, and the difference between a star and a sad sack. I mean, I'm sorry, a star and a workman, something like that. Just kind of give a broad overview so that people who aren't familiar with the game will know what these ratings mean, what ratings are good to have, what ratings are not so good to have. So just wanted to put that out there. Hope everybody, like I said, is happy with what I picked for them, and you're happy. Hopefully you're happy also with what team you're on. So let the smack talk begin, as I said, and hopefully next week we'll get down to business and start playing these games. And if, like I said, the plan is to do 2 out of 3. But if people are really into it and want to make it a best of 7, we can certainly see about doing that also. I've got to of course mix this inside my 1977 White Sox replay. I want to make sure I don't lose track of that. I've only played 14 games so far. I want to make sure I pick up with that again this weekend also, as they now head to Detroit after being in Oakland for 4 games. And hopefully get through Detroit's 2 games and get back to the friendly confines of Comiskey Park. So that's good to go from here. Hope everybody, like I said, is having a great St. Patrick's Day weekend. Be safe, whatever your plans are. And like I said, give me the feedback if you're not happy, or if you, if I put you on the wrong team or whatever. Let me know, and we'll see about if there's anything I can do to change that. And if I left you out, obviously, please let me know. That was not intentional on my part. So until next time, have a great day, and enjoy rolling the games, whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And as usual, I will see you all down the road.